that was a threat to big tech and a threat to big corporations. And, you know, Bezos and Elon Musk and the rest of them really want to destroy our labor movement. They want to destroy the New Deal, and they want to return us back to the Gilded Age.
Hey, it's Jordan. I am in Flint, Michigan, East Palestine, Ohio, Tumwa, Iowa. Please support the only independent outlet on the ground covering what the corporate media covers up. Hey, it's Jordan. Happy to be joined by Seth Goldstein, labor attorney who represented members of Amazon workers during their original union fight. And I wanted to talk to you because it looks like before breakfast, President Trump is purging the National Labor Relations Board. It seems illegally, from what I could tell. You would be able to tell me better. He has fired General Counsel Abruzzo, who many have said has been the best and most pro-worker NLRB counsel in a long time. We'll get to her in a minute. But even more controversially, he has now removed NLRB member Gwyn Wilcox, who I believe it is illegal for the president to just remove NLRB members. And now that she has been removed, the NLRB does not have a quorum to make decisions. Let me just read her statement. This is NLRB board member Gwyn Wilcox. It's been an honor to serve as board member and chair of the National Labor Relations Board. As the first Black woman board member, I brought a unique perspective that I believe will be lost upon my unprecedented and illegal removal. Although I'm very disappointed to not be able to serve out my Senate-confirmed term ending in August 2028, I'm proud of the work I've done to enforce the National Labor Relations Act, which protects the rights of employees to act collectively and the responsibility of employers to respect that right. Throughout my time at the NLRB, I've worked well with my colleagues and the dedicated career staff who uphold the mission of the agency. I'll be pursuing all legal avenues to challenge my removal, which violates longstanding Supreme Court precedent. Seth, you tell me. I see a cause and effect between the big tech vultures that were in the second row at inauguration, two of whom have pursued legal avenues to make the NLRB unconstitutional, and Trump doing this.
I'm not surprised. We've been talking about this since 2022, since the JFK election, JFK 8 election, when the right wing was trying to discredit the NLRB and trying to use their legal financial power to squelch workers' voice. And then with Elon Musk, you had the SpaceX case, you had Trader Joe's attempting to use Morgan Lewis. A lot of this has to do with Morgan Lewis, right? Morgan Lewis devised this SpaceX.
And Morgan Lewis is a
union busting law firm, yeah. And they also were involved with Amazon as well. So we knew that this was coming. We had talked about this as part of their legal strategy to say that the act, the NLRA, is unconstitutional because, you know, the president could fire board members and administrative law judges. You see, this is just the beginning of the purge. They're going to now fire administrative law judges that don't agree with them. They're going to fire board members. This is not a legal issue. This is a get to the street issue because our democracy is going away. It is illegal, but you know that Trump doesn't care.
Well, and what we consider, or what seems clearly illegal, I mean, there were people who said, oh, don't worry, Supreme Court, they're not going to rule in favor of him in terms of presidential immunity. And then they did. So although it's on the books illegal, it is his goal, you think, to move this up to the conservative Supreme Court, and they possibly can find the National Labor Relations Act, which, if you could tell the audience more, that's from the 20th century that set up the NLRB.
Yes, I do. I think that that's the goal here. And this has been what the union busters and the anti-union law firms have been talking about since Trump was elected, that on his first few days, he would fire a board member. And he's done that now. And it is illegal. But again, we can't count on the Supreme Court saving democracy. We only have ourselves.
Mhm.
And this is an issue, along with all the other horrific things he's done in the past few days, for people to go out on the streets and to resist. I know that there's, from some point of view, they say, well, we should be acting towards everything. But this is how Hitler got the Enabling Act, destroyed German democracy in a matter of weeks. And this seems to be the path that Trump is doing. And it's up to us to stop this. Workers, too. I think the labor movement, our labor movement, needs to be putting on their marching boots and getting out there and, pushing Hawley, who was supposedly the guy that the Teamsters thought was going to save the day.
Senator Josh Hawley.
Yeah. I mean, that hasn't worked out very well. And Cotton and some of these other Republicans, but this is a political issue, and this is an issue for mass democracy. We will make the arguments in court, but this is exactly what the Trump administration and the anti-union people want us to do, is to make this into a constitutional issue, and we shouldn't fall for the bait.
And I want to point out, he's doing this as, we're certainly not in the labor heyday of, the 50s and 60s, but there's been momentum in recent years. Just literally just now, it came out this morning, last night. Whole Foods workers in Philadelphia just voted in favor of unionizing. That is the first of the Amazon-owned chains, 500 locations to unionize. That's major. For those of you that don't know, Amazon does own Whole Foods. And bigger picture, there hasn't been this level of support for labor unions in probably decades. This poll, 70% of Americans express approval for labor unions towards the end of last year. I'd like to ask you, because I think there's a lot of Trump supporters. I've been around. I've covered 3 campaigns. I went to many Trump rallies. Many of them are not, bigots, and many of them are blue-collar workers who actually kind of bought some of Trump's messaging that he's anti-establishment and he's going to bring the jobs back. So I try in a good faith way to explain to them, you've kind of been conned. But how does any of this, if a MAGA person is watching, how does any of this lower prices, protect workers, shift back the balance from the global elites that Trump has attacked to workers? Because as of now, him removing the NLRB board member, the NLRB is frozen. They can't make decisions for however long this is going to be stuck in court.
Well, my real concern is that the next move is to fire federal judges. What stops him from doing that? Where are the guardrails if he decides that he doesn't like a decision and he fires them? I've been worrying about this all along. We are in a major constitutional crisis, and we have to understand that a dictator doesn't want to allow people to have the right to organize and speak out at work. It's antithetical to what dictators want. And that's why Elon Musk was involved in shutting down an NLRB suit by 9 women that were discriminated against and harassed sexual discrimination. And so the question we have to ask ourselves is, and I've been asking it for a long time, how to react to this. And it's always been my opinion that this should not be treated as a labor issue. As a legal issue. It's a labor issue, and it's a democracy issue. And again, there's all these other things that he's done in the last 2 days, like freezing federal grants and money that's been approved by Congress. He is just walking all over our Constitution. And even those people who were Trump supporters, and some of them are good people, they're not all racists and nationalists. They don't want this to happen. If you're a Teamster worker and you get terminated, you want the right to go to the NLRB to claim that maybe you're retaliated against because you supported the union.
Right.
So we're going to see now what we can do, and I hope that we do not become strategic and just say, oh, you have to concentrate on the price of eggs. They are walking on our Constitution, and if we don't defend it, we're heading towards Mussolini type of Hitler fascism, in my opinion.
And practically speaking, to people that are not, in the weeds on the National Labor Relations Board and don't get maybe when people say they were very strong under Biden. How did the National Labor Relations Board under Abruzzo, who was just fired, under this board member, how did that National Labor Relations Board ultimately strengthen the ability for Amazon workers to unionize in Staten Island, the Starbucks workers, because a lot of the workers praised the NLRB for allowing the conditions for them to exercise their labor rights.
So the NLRB with Abruzzo and with the board help workers because they don't have the financial abilities that Amazon has. They don't have 4 law firms working for them. And, they were able to allow people to have elections faster. There was consequential damages if people were terminated unlawfully. And that was a threat to big tech and a threat to the big corporations. And, Bezos and Elon Musk and the rest of them really want to destroy our labor movement. They want to destroy the New Deal, and they want to return us back to the Gilded Age. This is, again, what I've been saying to people, Lochner 2.0. But in this case, Trump is just bypassing the other branches of government, and he's just unilaterally doing what he wants to do. And if we allow him to do it, then we're just as we're guilty of allowing a dictatorship to form in this country.
And lastly, what's the role of the Democratic Party here? To Biden's credit, this NLRB was under him. However, Democrats didn't lift a finger for the PRO Act. I'm not sure even if it was passed, Trump might have, thrown that in the garbage too illegally. But the Democrats had opportunities to strengthen protections for labor. Now they're coming out against this, but I've seen mostly lip service from the Democratic Party in terms of labor.
Well, where's John Fetterman on this? Where are the stalwart Democrats? Look, they allowed Joe Manchin and Sinema to tank McFerrin, and now this is the next step. The Democratic Party has to become a party of workers and not a party of elites. Ironically, this is what the elites are doing to us. And we need to be speaking out against the elites, the billionaires and the corporatists. It's not just Trump. This is all being pushed by the enemies of labor. And there's no coincidence that Elon Musk's office is right in the White House. Is this acceptable? I don't think it is.
Right.
And I think people need to be active, and they need to make life uncomfortable for the people, nonviolent, of course, but they have to be active to make sure that our points are being heard, and that government is for Main Street, for workers. It's not for the elites.
And, you mentioned democracy, which I don't even think we've had a functioning democracy for decades, but putting that aside, to me, this is a kleptocracy. I mean, you got corrupt politicians just openly. It's not hidden. I mean, they're literally there behind Trump at inauguration. Elon's, got a desk. I guess it's was going to be in the White House. Now it's across the street, whatever. Bezos is there. I mean, it's just kind of legal bribes and kickbacks. I mean, it's not a coincidence that Elon Musk has tried to sue to make the NLRB unconstitutional. So has Bezos. They showered him with money, particularly Elon. And now he's doing this. I mean, I don't really think Trump cares as much as if the NLRB is struck down. He's just create the chaos and let the chips fall where they fall. It just seems like a kleptocracy to me.
It is. It's a government of grifters and criminals. But importantly, there is a route. The Trader Joe's workers did stop Trader Joe's from promoting the same legal strategy of trying to overturn the National Labor Relations Act. And they did it when workers at Essex Crossing walked out and talked to, to the customers at Trader Joe's, and they put pressure on them. And I think this needs to be done a billion times more nationwide. So once again, let's not get locked up to this as a legal issue. It's blatantly unlawful. People will be arguing in court on that issue. But everyday people need to get involved in this issue because it impacts them.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you for your time, Seth Goldstein.
So one other thing, the first thing I think unions should do is have should be having emergency membership meetings with their members and discussing this issue and how it impacts them on their contracts and what they can do. And there's a lot they can do. They can walk out if they don't have a contract.
And also, I'd like to hear from Sean O'Brien of the Teamsters. Got a lot of criticism for speaking at the RNC. I mean, the Democrats did not invite him to speak at their convention, but O'Brien, short of endorsing Trump, been pretty friendly to the Trump administration. Well, this is not friendly to the Teamsters or unions, so
it's not friendly to the Amazon workers who merged with the Teamsters. How can you approach any of those Amazon workers at JFK 8 or in Queens or in California and say that we had your best interest at heart because we took a very neutral position with Trump, and now we have this?
Yeah. Thank you for your time. We'll stay in touch, and I agree. People need to take measures into their own hands peacefully, but this is bigger than politics. We have very few rights as workers, very little leverage as workers now, and if this is allowed to pass, goodbye. It's going to be the oligarchs and us just, begging for the crumbs. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.